I'm here with veteran music producer known for his work with the Goo Dolls, Bush, No Doubt, and many others, Joel Wertman. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Most definitely, man. Thank you so much for having me. And you've been in the music industry for over 30 years. What made you decide to create this new TV series that you're doing, Becoming Alex?
Um, Good question. So I kind of have segued around the television business, which I'm in as well, because I guess because it's such a multimedia business now, and what really captured me is I wanted to really combine the music and storytelling, and that's why I created it. It's kind of a lot of it's based on me, my own experiences. So kind of
Man,
tells it's an interesting story.
and I bet you have some amazing stories about being in the music industry because you've been in it for so long and you've been instrumental in so many artists' careers, not just the ones I've named. From Tiffany to Young MC. What were some of the memories? Just to talk about in brevity, some of the highlights of your music career.
Um, I guess the biggest highlights is working with these artists and being part of their dream, like fulfilling it and really, I don't want to say instrumental, but definitely it is a part of it, like to be just having that ability to bring somebody's talent fruition and their dream to fruition, and allowing them to make differences, which is which is what I want to do. That's why I got in the business, because it wasn't just as I didn't come into the business as just a promotion guy or whatever. I mean, I came in as a writer, so that was always my goal, to effectuate at least some sort of change. And it's a very powerful platform if it's used the right way.
That's incredible. How is the casting for the show going? Do you have leads in the show signed up, and do the actors have to be good singers or musicians?
Well, the principal actress, she's a singer as well. I mean, she's got a phenomenal voice. Everybody else in the cast, no, not necessarily. But I looked. It took a long time to find the lead. I mean, we must have gone through close to 100 actresses. I mean, it was a long, and obviously I was looking for something incredibly special. I was looking for that voice. I was looking for the emotion. I was looking for the ability to emote. And it took a while, but the girl we found, I mean, she's 17. She's incredible. I mean, she's got quite an arc to her career starting already. She did a film for Netflix that premiered at the beginning of September called Kate. I mean, she's great in it, but she's going to do something. I mean, she's going to do a lot, but she's also she's a very old soul, even though she's only 17, but she's very emotional, very communicative. And I think it's going to be good. She's going to help. Again, it's the same thing. I mean, not that I always try to put my feelings on other people's, but my whole thing in this is if you can make a difference in one person's life, you've done a lot. I mean, that's a good start.
Man, that's a good mantra. I'm gonna keep that. Do you see famous singers and musicians making appearances on the show in the future? And if so, do you have a wish list possibly for some exciting cameos?
Yeah, I'm not really sure that that's going to happen. This is more of an ensemble piece, and it's very much about the relationship between a girl and her single mother, who's a parent, and her grandfather. And it really talks a lot to that. And, it deals with very real issues, like societal issues that are ongoing right now that people don't always want to talk about, but unfortunately for them, if they watch this show, it's going to be talked about, and they're going to have to get into conversations about it. And that's the goal of it, to actually look at issues that we deal with as a society right now and make them better, and do it through you know, that it's like you're in your own home. I mean, you sit down to dinner, you know, what are you going to talk about? You talk about what's going on during the day and what you see and what you feel.
One of the biggest societal issues is the Me Too movement. It's been
Yeah.
growing and impacting so much of our society. Do you see some storylines for the show with a Me Too
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, they're in it already. There's a couple of major. I mean, there's a couple of arcs that we've dealt with already, and we've dealt with that are scripted. I mean, Me Too is one of them. This whole gender-based thing that we talk about Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's a big deal. You know, I mean, it's all woven into this show, but it's woven in a way that it happens at a ground level. It's not, you know, the arching political part of it. It's more, how do you affect it from the bottom up, and what does it make you feel, and why should, you know, why it's important to feel that way? Because they're all movements, and those movements only succeed as long as they get involved and they talk about it. I mean, you know, not everybody's in favor of everything, but conversation is important.
Most definitely. You're also working on an album with various artists that will
Yes,
include music that will be on the show. How's that coming
yes,
along?
great. The record's great. I mean, it's just phenomenal. We've already, that show, I mean, because we went out early on the music, it spawned 2 hit singles already, so it's been kind of cool. So you know, it definitely helps, gets attention, and that's what we're after.
How is it working with your son? He's a co-producer on the album. How's that collaboration working out? And do you pretty much agree on everything, or do you have to convince one another on a lot of things?
You know what? It's, to be totally frank with you, it's been a phenomenal experience. I never really thought. I mean, my kid's only 20 years old, and he's been going to the studio with me since he was 3. And he's very musical as well. Good writer, excellent player, and it's a real gift to be able to work with your own kid. I mean, I there are no adjectives I can give you that can express how great it is. And yeah, no, we don't agree on everything. Obviously, nobody does, but we hash it out and figure it out, and it always comes out good, you know. But you know, he's got his own. I mean, listen, I'm an older guy, you know. It's like I don't know everything, and he's got his own opinions, and his opinions they're relative, you know. I mean, they really, you know, I'm interested, very interested, but just from a purely emotional point of view, it's been a hell of a gift. I mean, it's like I could never have imagined it.
Yeah, that must be like a dream come true.
It is.
Can you talk a little bit about growing up in Canada and how did you discover you had a passion for music?
Interesting story. So quickly, the abbreviated version. I was always interested in music. I mean, I always loved it. And I started playing when I was 11 or 12, something like that. I started playing guitar. But again, Canada's not a big music scene. It definitely wasn't when I was a kid. I mean, it was there, but it was more like the farm team for the US. And I never even thought you know, it was more or less a hobby, but it was something I liked it. I mean, I was very interested. But I went to college to do the thing that your parents prefer you to do, get a profession, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be whatever it is, but get a profession. And I really wasn't that interested. I mean, I knew it wasn't for me, although I went through the motions anyway. And just by a fluke, I happened to meet somebody on campus who was a friend of a guy who had a small little record label that was close to the campus. He introduced me to him. I started talking to the guy, and the guy said to me, you know, and I just said to him, like, yeah, I write. And he goes, play me a song. And I played him the song. He goes, that song's a hit. Get in the studio and record it. And I went, I'd never done anything before. I had no idea. He sends me in the studio. He tells me, go find a singer. Singer was my brother. The record went top 5. So that's basically how I got in the music business. Just luck. And
Wow.
after that, I just never looked back. I knew I didn't want to do anything else, and I realized I could actually make a living at it. So
Yeah, you came out here and you were lucky enough to meet Shelly Siegel of Mushroom
yeah,
Records.
that's right.
How did you meet him, and what kind of influence did he have on you?
Um, how I met him is when I came out here, there was like one lawyer in Canada who was a music lawyer. Everybody had him, and once I got the hit, I got him too. And I was young, and he just sat me down. And he said, "Look, you're a talented guy. It's going to be very difficult for you if you stay in Canada. You really need to be in the States, and you really need to go to Los Angeles, and let me set you up with a bunch of meetings." So he set me up with a bunch of publishers. I got offered staff writing jobs at 3 of them. And Shelly Siegel was one of the guys he set me up with as well. And the record company, because he knew him or whatever. And I went and met with him, and I just hit it off with him like right away. And he had tremendous influence on me. I mean, he taught me the business, which I really didn't know. I mean, I knew what I knew, you make a great song, you become a hit. Well, it doesn't always work that way. There's tons of other elements involved. And he taught me the business. He was a mentor for sure. I mean, he exposed me to so many things that I really was able to succeed because of him. Like, he turned me on to things and got me to look at things a certain way, which I would never have looked at. Like, I was a kid. I was naive.
How has the music industry changed since you've been in it?
A lot. It's different business. It's a multimedia business now, and interesting enough, I think the playing field has become far more level, which it wasn't before. I mean, it was dominated by labels. It's not, I mean, they still play a big part, but they don't play the part that they did. And there's a lot of opportunity now for artists to establish themselves at a smaller level and build themselves up, which again, that wasn't an opportunity even 10 years ago, I don't think. But as the business morphed, and it became a multimedia business with streaming or more access. And again, television has played a big part now. It's like radio is not so dominant anymore. There's all other places you can get heard. It's just different business. Very interesting business now.
What kind of advice would you give a young artist trying to get into the business?
I think the best thing you can do is obviously believe in yourself and explore all different avenues that get you exposure, get yourself to a point that you hit your critical mass for yourself, and then look to get either a record company or something like that, a marketing company, something that can really expand your horizon involved. Because I don't really believe any artist coming from nowhere. I mean, it can happen, and there's been a few, but the odds, they're not high. I mean, you need that push at some point. You just do. You need that exposure. Like, you can't do it as one person. It's almost impossible. Too big a business, too large an audience to have to hit. But you can make a good start.
If you knew then what you know now about the music industry, what would you have done different in your early years in the business?
Probably not much, actually. I was pretty well taught. So,
man, thank you so much, Joel Wertman, for taking the time. It was an honor and a privilege. Best of luck with your show. I'm going to check it out and tell everybody I know, to watch it.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate the time.
Most.
All right. Take care.